Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. I've got the XRP chart up here on the hourly. You guys can see right here, we really haven't been moving too much. We've just been kind of vacillating in this level here at around 51 cents. XRP right now trading at 51, forming a very strong looking bullish pennant pattern. So hopefully we do maintain this level of support and we continue making our way to the upside. I mean, how long that will take is anybody's guess. Positive way to look at this, guys, this level of support is in fact holding. From what we saw on the chart back in October of last year, we did see peaks where XRP did rise up and in some cases wick up higher than that 50 cent mark. If I zoom out here back on the chart, even if we go back to June of 2021, you guys can see that old level of support over here bouncing off 51 and a half, give or take, and then again back in July, forming that double bottom pattern at that same point in time. This is when XRP did come up, trying to make that new high, wasn't able to. Nevertheless, again, forming this base here, support at around 51 cents. And, this is exactly what we're seeing here, really forming this base. And, hopefully a move to the upside is imminent. Usually we take a look at the Bitcoin chart to see if anything could spur on another move to the upside, but it's fairly quiet for Bitcoin as well, fairly quiet for the crypto space. In general, Bitcoin really hasn't been moving much either, still trading at about $28,000 per coin. So the calm before the storm. Yesterday, I posted a video, and it's looking as though Sir Clown Sniper's original tweet has gained a lot of momentum. David Schwartz has elaborated on his initial comment that he made with regards to these 10 points. Now, if you guys didn't catch the video I did about this, I will link it up here in the top right-hand corner because we did want to look at these statements and we really wanted to dive in to the nuance. Things are never black and white. And so what did David Schwartz actually mean by this? And, some other people put in their 2 cents too, because as these statements were written, I mean, you can always interpret them in a certain way. Well, David Schwartz has elaborated, but it's looking as though we may actually have more questions than answers here. Well, anyway, let me get into it, okay? David Schwartz does take on every single point. So this is a bit of an update from David Schwartz's perspective. XRP can't be pegged by gold, silver, or anything else. In theory, nothing prevents someone from trying to peg the price, but it's absurd to expect someone to do this when it's virtually impossible to imagine why anyone would want to do that. So that was his answer to XRP can't be pegged to gold or silver. He's saying it would be stupid to do so. However, theoretically, it's possible. Continuing on, XRP can't magically become a stablecoin. Someone could offer to redeem XRP at some fixed rate for someone else to set a floor price, but why would anyone do that? Why wouldn't they just issue a stablecoin and not mess up XRP? If you want a stablecoin, buy one. So again, giving a scenario where somebody could, in fact, create something like a stablecoin out of XRP, but then asking why would anyone do that? Stablecoins issued on the XRPL are not XRP. This, he says, is obviously correct, which I think is not really contestable. The XRPL requires electricity to operate. I'm not sure how this could be controversial. So as we know, again, of course it does. XRP can only exist on the XRPL. Otherwise, it's an IOU. The XRPL is an authoritative record of XRP ownership. You can create XRP-dominated assets elsewhere, but unless there's somehow one-to-one tie to XRP on the XRP ledger, they're not XRP, but a derivative or an IOU. So giving us a bit of an example there. XRP has nothing to do with ISO 20022, so ISO 20022 is a messaging standard, and I think we all know that by now in the XRP community. David Schwartz just clarifying that. Interledger doesn't require XRP, so ILP works with any asset, either for payment or settlement. It works well in conjunction with the XRPL payment channels. You can use ILP for pure dollar payments if you want. All the money in the world will not run across the XRP ledger. Interesting. Massively scaling blockchains is hard, says David Schwartz. So he's saying, here, it's probably sounding like, just from this statement alone, it's sounding like they have likely tried to scale XRP and, push the limits of the XRP ledger. That doesn't limit the use of XRP to denominate payments or using payment channels, IOUs, derivatives, etc. Most of the world's payments don't belong on public blockchain. So again, a very interesting answer that David Schwartz gives us here with regards to all the money running on the XRP ledger. The US government is not going to buy back your XRP. Tying XRP to one particular jurisdiction plays to its weaknesses rather than its strengths. Cryptocurrencies work best when their ownership is diverse. Again, more questions than answers here. So yes or no, will the government buy back your XRP? And he's basically stating the benefits for XRP to be jurisdictionless. And he leaves it at that. RippleNet is totally different from the XRP ledger. RippleNet is an enterprise payment system that eliminates barriers to using the XRP ledger for the source or destination or bridge in enterprise payments. RippleNet is a private payment network based on early versions of ILP. So clarifying that, XRP and the XRP ledger really are what you see is what you get. If you're imagining that there's some massive secret, you are imagining. You can imagine anything about anything. Imagining things doesn't justify believing them. Be excited about what is actually being built on things. So David Schwartz saying there is no secret. What you see is what you get. Essentially, the XRPL works as is. It is public. There's nothing hidden. There's no secret prices. There's no secret stablecoins, no secret, protocols. Basically doing his best to clear this up. So wanted to thank David Schwartz, obviously, for giving us more insight on what he meant by this. I'm sure some of you guys, though, are still scratching your head and may actually have more questions. The development on the XRPL is necessary at a time like now when not only payments are being modernized, the technology behind payments, all that is being modernized. On top of that, we're also seeing dollar dominance, US dollar dominance being questioned to the point where now we're getting news of this, guys. US states are preparing for a possible Federal Reserve dollar downgrade by creating gold repositories. So, which states are looking into this? New Hampshire, Texas, Wyoming, Florida. They will take the lead and make other states less competitive. So Matt here just posting some screen grabs from some headlines here. 23 US states move to reclaim gold and silver as legal tender. So when I was saying to you guys, maybe it's a good idea, again, not financial advice, but maybe it's a good idea to purchase some gold and silver. Silver in particular, if we do find ourselves transacting in a cashless society, silver is at that price point where we can use it for transactional value in a cashless society. Here, a Tennessee governor signs bill to authorize state gold and silver reserves. And so some more information too, just from May of last year on blockchain and digital assets and how blockchain is basically going to be able to tokenize different kinds of assets. If we go down here, this piece of news stood out to me as well. I'm going to bring up the article, Is the Gold Standard Coming Back to Texas? Legislators propose gold-backed digital currency. So guys, this just came out yesterday, April the 7th, 2023. The gold standard as it existed under the Bretton Woods system until 1971 is likely never coming back. There are a myriad of reasons for this, but the most important lie with the U.S. government's ability to control the economy. Under the gold standard, the government no longer has the tools it uses to support the economy. So give some background on gold, the gold standard, monetary policy. Just going down here, a gold standard is probably impossible, but State Senator Brian Hughes and Representative Mark D'Orazio of Texas think they have found a way of bringing back many of its benefits. They introduced matching bills to their respective houses that propose the introduction of a gold-backed digital currency. The bills state that the state comptroller shall establish a digital currency that is backed by gold so that each unit of the digital currency issued represents a particular fraction of troy ounce of gold held in trust. They would also require that the trustees shall maintain enough gold to provide for the redemption in gold of all units of the digital currency that have been issued and are not yet redeemed for money or gold to prevent bank runs. So it's looking as though Texas, the state of Texas, already on top of this, realizing, the economy is very precarious and, the way the Fed is just printing money like nobody's business. Texas wants to safeguard itself along with these other states, namely New Hampshire, Wyoming, and Florida, and it's looking as though Tennessee is another one too. So it's all very interesting how this is culminating. Cypress Domanicore here bringing this up too with regards to central bank digital currency. So CBDC is obviously playing into this and, they're already proposing a CBDC. What they want the masses to think is that the central bank digital currency is just going to replace the typical dollar. But what us skeptics are thinking is that the central bank digital currency is not only going to replace the dollar, it's going to be worth less. So for example, if the dollar does crash, they do need to replace it with something else. And I showed you guys a little example the other day. If you do have 10,000, let's say 10,000 US dollars in your bank account, but they're only willing to give you 5 cents on the dollar, if in fact the economy does collapse, this means that you will receive only 500 central bank digital currencies for every US dollar that you hold. Now, that's obviously not a 1-to-1 ratio. And these are some things that, the masses just haven't thought about yet. It is sad but true that many people do not understand, nor do they want to accept this digital transformation. It doesn't matter how many people fight, argue, or protest that CBDCs will lead to corruption. The truth is they are coming. The elites don't care what we, the people, think. It is essential to educate and empower yourself to adapt and thrive in this new digital era. So just pointing out some headlines here from some of these papers. Digital technologies for a new future. a new future, something that we do not really have any control over. We can best prepare ourselves, but guys, really, this great reset is coming, and the outcome is going to be dependent on how we react to it, really. Digital technologies have grown exponentially, and their use has been globalized. The result being the excessive economic and political power is wielding by no more than 20 or so corporations based in 2 or 3 world powers, an all too small group of firms with market capitalizations of close to or more than $1 trillion. So this is a bigger plan for dominance. To be honest, I'm surprised gold exchanges still exist in the country. Maybe I shouldn't say that too loud. Knock on wood. Continuing on, guys, the Federal Reserve has also come out in a bit of a damage control mode because of what we've been hearing from Ron DeSantis and RFK Jr. Now, this is from mainstream news outlet NBC, and they're stating that these guys have misconstrued the Fed's digital plans in warning of government overreach. So as the Federal Reserve looks to modernize banking, 2 potential 2024 presidential candidates have accused the central bank of seeking to use a proposed digital dollar to control Americans' finances, although Fed officials have committed to no such plans. Again, from mainstream media news outlet NBC. So, the heat has been turned up on these guys, basically whistleblowing. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis alleged last week that the Fed made digital US dollar would let the government block transactions like buying a rifle or filling up with too much gas. And, the other day I did also talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his critical stance on FedNow and what that could mean. And he was even linking it to central bank digital currencies. Well, the Federal Reserve has come out and they said this: is FedNow replacing cash? Is it a central bank digital currency? FedNow is not related to a digital currency. FedNow is a payment service the Federal Reserve is making available for banks and credit unions to transfer funds. The FedNow service is neither a form of currency nor a step towards eliminating any form of payment, including cash. So you guys can see this is clearly damage control, them having to come out now because of RFK Jr. and Ron DeSantis basically warning the public, saying, you guys better watch out because this is what the government's doing. The FedNow service is an instant payment service provided by the Federal Reserve launching in July. FedNow will be available to depository institutions such as banks and credit unions in the United States and will enable individuals and businesses to send instant payments through their depository institution accounts. So basically, they're saying it's not a central bank digital currency. It's just an account that that your bank will have with the Federal Reserve. Instant payments allow individuals and businesses to send and receive payments within seconds. So just kind of discussing the benefits of that. But what they're not saying is, no, it's not a central bank digital currency technically. No, not technically, but it is a step in that direction. Darren Moore clears this up. FedNow is like an upgrade to FedWire. It's the Fed's ledger open book 365 24/7 with instant settlement. It has API access so fintechs can plug into it. An account-based CBDC that the Fed is looking at means you have an account with the Fed. FedNow banks and fintechs have access. You don't have an account with FedNow. You have an account with your bank that has an account with FedNow. A CBDC would mean you have an account with the Fed depending on how they design it. So just a step to intermediate, essentially. I mean, this is how I'm looking at it. A step to basically be the facilitator, I guess we could call it. The facilitator between the end user and the central bank digital currency through the Fed. FedNow would be that mediator in order to facilitate those central bank digital currencies. So yes, technically it is not a central bank digital currency, but these guys, I think what they were doing is trying to break it down for the public so that they could try to digest it in a fashion that was more palatable. But it has had an effect if the Federal Reserve is coming out now and saying, whoa, we're not replacing cash, don't worry. We're doing something else. We're not, and they're trying to shift the attention over here. No, don't look over there. This is not a cashless society. We are just facilitating instant cross-border payments. But I think the reality of it is that it is a step towards central bank digital currencies. Eventually, it will facilitate central bank digital currencies. So take it for what you will. And the FedNow technology run by Volpay from Volente, which runs on Ripple, is going to be the back-end technology, probably not for the domestic payments, but could be for those international payments. Now, when David Schwartz was asked about the XRP ledger and how interoperable it was, this is what he said. I will link this in the description, not going over the full thing, but essentially he made a point that, the XRPL, he would rather the XRP ledger and everything run on the XRP ledger be the most interoperable it can be and not not be exclusive to XRP for this exact reason. He is of the opinion that all boats should rise, and that if you block off rails, that's just not going to be good for crypto innovation in its totality. So, he gives a bit of a description here. I will link this in the description. I'm not going to go through it, but I thought it was a very interesting read. Of course, though, guys, we do need the clarity, and we are getting closer and closer. John Deaton reposted this article from Blockworks, and I love this title. No matter what happens with the SEC, Ripple has already won. So I'm not going to go over the full article because a lot of it is stuff we already know. I'm just going to go down here to the bottom and really wanted to hit on these points here. If Ripple wins, it will have defeated Goliath to be crowned a crypto champion. Ripple's reputation would only be steel-manned if it lost. A monumental fine could hypothetically bankrupt the firm, but considering its current revenues, this is unlikely. So we are thinking, or at least, the author of this article is thinking that the worst that could happen, a fine. It could be that nothing really changes for Ripple after the case concludes, win, lose, or jury trial, except one major shift. The magnetic poles of the crypto industry have flipped. XRP is now bona fide in the eyes of a once hostile industry. So, it's interesting what can happen over a couple of years, when we've had Bitcoin maximalists, and a large portion of the crypto industry have always thought, Ripple and XRP were the banker's coin, and, this is a bad project because they are, ideologically, they're against what we believe in. And now it seems like so many more people have turned and made a 180 on their stance on Ripple and XRP, realizing how important it is for Ripple to win this case and the precedent that it is going to set for the rest of the crypto industry. So essentially, to this point here, they've already won in so many ways. The respect, I think, from the rest of the industry is going to shift. I think it's going to change. I think Ripple's already, seeing this. I think that, not that they really needed Bitcoin maximalists in their corner, but, we've got guys like Ryan Selkis who have also come out and said this. And at the end of the day, guys, it's going to be great for XRP holders because we are the first, right? This is the first crypto case, and I remember somebody saying this back in 2020. We are the first crypto case to have gone to court. And so we are likely going to be the first crypto case with clarity, meaningful clarity, that is going to give confidence for investors to purchase more XRP if this, in fact, is the only coin with clarity. It's already got the clarity around the world. It's just that last region, the United States, where XRP does need the clarity. Tom Emmer knows it. He was on the Unchained podcast. Here's what he said about the SEC and Gary Gensler and how they're going about regulation.
Let's just talk about Gary Gensler at the SEC. He's a Warren disciple. This guy, in my mind, is a bad faith regulator. He's been blindly spraying the crypto community with enforcement actions while completely missing the true bad actors. He says he's got an open door, Laura, but a company like Coinbase, right, which accessed that open door and started working with Gary Gensler's SEC. By the way, Coinbase, I would argue, is one of the most regulatory compliant crypto companies out there. Well, guess what? Gary Gensler might have an open door, but it is an enter at your own risk door because what he does is, despite several meetings over several months, Gary Gensler's SEC refused to provide feedback on a product. It was called the Earn product that Coinbase was looking to list. And instead, after all these meetings and nothing happening, the SEC slapped Coinbase with a Wells notice regarding the very issues on which Coinbase was asking for their feedback. Clearly not the way the government should be serving Americans. And it sends a clear message, I believe, to the broader crypto community. And that directly is Gary Gensler is not regulating in good faith.
Straightforward and to the point. Tom Emmer, I think, nails how he feels about the SEC and Gary Gensler and is bringing this perspective to others. Gary, we know what you're up to. You cannot hide anymore. And again, Ripple's position now in the crypto space, all thanks to the SEC. It is looking like this is going to be a win-win for Ripple and XRP. Jeremy Hogan also chiming in on what the judge could do. If the judge in the Ripple case wanted to split the baby, that's a horrific phrase, isn't it? She could rule that sales of XRP since mid-2018 were not securities because even the SEC concedes that Ripple's actions had almost no effect on XRP's price since that point in time. What would that possibly mean, he asks? Ripple would pay a fine, again, an idea that we've already toyed with. Ripple could pay a fine, which by my calculations, it could afford and move forward with its business. And now with XRP being the only crypto with clarity, maybe Coinbase will only be selling Bitcoin and XRP next year, which means, guys, the only two cryptocurrencies with clarity would be Bitcoin and XRP. You can only imagine how much these market caps would swell if all these other cryptocurrencies were delisted off Coinbase and, if Americans just did not have the confidence in these cryptocurrencies. XRP sitting right now at $26.3 billion. But if it became the second most traded cryptocurrency, we would have to multiply that by about 10, bringing it up over Ethereum's market cap. But guys, it would go even higher than that because all these other cryptocurrencies, you'd see a lot of money being squeezed out of all these other cryptocurrencies without the clarity. And, most lion's share, one would assume, would be going into Bitcoin and XRP if that, in fact, was the case. Ashley Prosper here also giving us some more insight on how the 6-month list works, okay? So we talked about this 6-month window that the judge has, and here's what she found. On March the 31st and September the 30th of every year, in every United States district court, case management software run by the clerk of the court calculates how many open motions are listed on each judge's docket that have been pending for more than 6 months. In practice, that 6 months is actually 214 days because each motion is treated as having a grace period of 30 days from filing. Thus, a motion filed on March 1st is treated as though it was filed on March 31st for the purpose of compiling the list. Cases pending for more than 3 years, as the list compilation dates are also tabulated but without any grace period. So, judges are actually aware of this list and its deadlines. That is an important point. Also this, guys, as one judge put it, no judge likes being on this report of shame. So, if in fact that is the case, here's what Ashley thinks we could hear. If a summary judgment ruling takes Judge Torres as long as it did to issue her Daubert motion ruling, then we could look towards April 27th for news. However, issues of summary judgment and sealing are more complex than Daubert motions, therefore it could take even longer. So, will we hear some news by April the 27th? Again, I know I'm throwing another date out there, but no judge wants to be on this list of shame. Also, guys, think about it. If Coinbase is only listing Bitcoin and XRP next year, where do you think that'll take XRP price? That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.